Mary Ann Burrows, PTM. And Mary Ann will be giving her speech from the Advanced Manual, Humorously Speaking. It's speech number 1, and it is warm up your audience. The time is 5 to 7 minutes. The objective of this speech is to prepare a speech that opens with a humorous story. The story must be related to the speech topic and appropriate for the audience. The story may be based on actual person's experience the speaker has had, or on a story from another source. The speaker is to personalize the story. Deliver the story smoothly and effectively. The title of her speech today is Life Lessons from an Ice Skater. Help me give Mary Ann a very warm welcome.
Fellow Toastmasters and our new member, I have spent many years of my life on an ice rink. It all began as a small child on a frozen pond in a local park, then in a rink as a teenager, as an adult. Then I taught ice skating. I ran a Learn to Skate program. My kids took lessons. I went to many of my son's hockey games and my daughter's figure skating classes. And I also volunteered for Special Olympics. So you can see that I spend a lot of time on the ice. Sometimes when people find out that I'm 4 years old, they're rather surprised. And they say, wow, you look a lot younger than that. I always say, it's because I've been well preserved from being on the ice for so long. And of course, it doesn't hurt to have good genes as well. But in all that time, I feel like I've learned some life lessons that I'd like to share with you today. Number 1 is be prepared, like the Boy Scout motto. And in ice skating, being prepared, one of the most important things is that you wear the right size skates, timed properly. How many of you have ever ice skated? How many of you have ever ice skated maybe once or twice and said, I hate ankles? All right, got one. Usually there's a lot more than that. Well, if I had $1 for every time someone said that, I'd be a very rich girl. But it's my philosophy that it's not so much that you have weak ankles, it's that you have the wrong equipment or tied them properly. It's very important to get the right size. And usually when people get skates, they stick their foot in, and if their foot doesn't fall in the boot, they go get another size bigger, and then another size bigger, and pretty soon they're wearing 2 or 3 sizes too big. When in actuality, about a size smaller than your shoe size is the most usual size. And you want to make sure they're tied properly. I had a little girl in one of my classes once who kept saying, oh, my feet are killing me, my feet are killing me. So I took her off the ice, stepped her skates. Her father had tied the skates from the toe all the way up to the top, as tight as he could. He was this big, burly guy. Then he wrapped the laces around, tied it in a double knot, and then wrapped them again and tied it in another knot. The poor girl's feet were in a vice. So when you're tying the skates, you want them to be fairly loose by the toes, so there's flexibility of your toes. Nice and firm in the arch or ankle, and then a little looser to the top. Then you'll have good fit. If you have the right size skates, you're going to be able to skate well without those weak ankles. Now in life, we all know you need to be prepared as well. Say for instance, Stacy would like to become a nurse. She'd have to go and decide, well, let's see, I want to be a nurse. So what school would provide me with the best preparation for that particular item? Then she would have to decide what type of nurse she would want to be, and then sign up for school, and then make preparations and become a nurse. So it's very important that we all be very prepared wherever we are in our life. Number 2, use your head. How many of you think your feet are the most important part of ice skating? Right? I think that's pretty logical. But actually, it's actually your head. Because your head directs where your body goes. I want to go forward, I want to line my face and my head up forward, my shoulders, my feet, and then I move forward. If I want to start to move to the right, I have to begin by rotating my face or my head to the right, then my shoulders, and then my body will automatically follow. Much like if Stacy was going to become the nurse again, she would have to direct her energy or focus towards her goal, which would be to become a nurse. And she would have to align herself by for the proper classes, getting the proper certification, and the rest of her would follow in that direction. So it's very important to use your head. Balance. Very important in life and in ice skating. Oftentimes you'll see the professional skaters with their arms out. It's not just to look good, but the arms provide balance. Now usually with beginner skaters, if they start to lose their balance, they go like this. Flail their arms all around, which is the last thing in the world you want to do. What you really want to do is stop. Align your head, align your shoulders, align your feet, and then move forward again. And think about it. Isn't that true in life as well? When we get into a frustrating, conflicting situation, we start flailing our arms, or at least our mind or our inside. Instead, what we need to do is stop, realign ourselves, and sometimes that can mean going away someplace and finding some peace or some type of connection. But sometimes you don't have that advantage. But just taking a deep breath, counting to 10, centering yourself, and then speaking from that point, you'll come from a much more composed place. So remember balance. Next one is not for everyone. Not everybody loves ice skating. I happen to, but not everybody does. I remember this little guy I had in class. He was about 3 or 4 years old, little guy. He did not like ice skating at all. But his mom had a rule: if you signed up for anything, you had to follow through, finish out that set of sessions, and then if you didn't like it, you didn't have to do it. But every week he would come into class, and he'd pull in this little hammy and he'd say, "I hate this ice skating. I hate this ice skating. I hate this ice skating." So I will never forget that little guy. Fortunately, I actually knew his mom later, and it was always kind of fun to remember back to that. The other thing is watch out for the toe picks in life. Have you ever been moving through life, just gliding along, and suddenly something happens and you land flat on your face? We all have. Well, in ice skating, the same thing occurs. When you're skating, you want to remain on this place on your blade. Right about here is your balance point. But in figure skates, there's toe picks. They're excellent for landing spins or doing jumps, but if you're skating along and you just tilt ever so slightly forward, especially in a new pair of skates, you're going to go flying across the ice right on your face. So a lot of times when people do that a couple times, they say, well, I'm just not meant to be an ice skater. But if you want it bad enough, you have to get back up and try it again. I had a gentleman in one of my classes once. He was about 25. He wanted to learn to skate. He literally took 6 sets of lessons. Wow. That's 36 sessions, or 6 lessons, before he left the side of the board. But he wanted it so bad, he kept getting up and doing it again and doing it again. He eventually did learn how to skate and even did some testing. So if you want it bad enough, keep at it. And the final one is dress for success. We've all heard that statement. If you're a salesman, you wear your suit and tie so that you can impress your customers. Well, in skating, the same thing applies. I have seen it happen time after time after time. When you put on a new tutu on a little girl, she skates better. It's amazing. That shouldn't make any difference as to how you skate, but it works every single time. So fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, I hope some of these life lessons might help you as you begin to glide your way through life. And I'm going to leave you with one final thought, and that is, if you've ever aspired to walk on water, perhaps ice skating is the way you might